Over the years, some of the best players from around the world have played in the Premier League, from recent stars like Mo Salah, Paul Pogba and Eden Hazard, to Didier, Drogba and Dennis Bergkamp. However, some legends end up moving to the bright lights of the Prem just a little too late in their careers. Here are 12 players we wish moved to the Premier League sooner. Number 1, George Weah. Just imagine if George Weah had scored that goal in the Premier League. It was exciting enough seeing it on Channel 4, but how good would it have been to see it live? He did okay on loan at Chelsea in 2000 and said it wasn't a disaster at Man City, but he did only score 4 times in 18 appearances at both clubs. This was far from the player who had won the Ballon d'Or 5 years previously, and we wanted to see that player. Number 2, Patrick Kluivert. The thought of a Kluivert-Shearer partnership in the mid to late 90s would have been an absolute dream for Newcastle supporters. As it transpired, the duo linked up in the 04-05 season, which resulted in a 14th place finish, and the Dutchman departing at the end of the season with a respectable 13 goals from 37 appearances in all competitions. Number 3, DAVOR SUKER. Croatia's all-time leading goalscorer and a star of the '98 World Cup, SUKER shone in La Liga for Sevilla and Real Madrid before joining Arsenal in 1999. Arriving in the Premier League on the wrong side of 30, SUKER lasted just 1 season at Highbury, scoring 8 times in the Prem before an equally short stint at West Ham, where he mustered just 2 goals in 11 appearances. To be fair, SUKER might have had a better time in England if he hadn't missed that crucial penalty against Galatasaray in the UEFA Cup final in 2000, which I think they got beat 4-1 in. Number 4, JARI Litmanen. One of the stars of Ajax's Champions League winning side in the mid-90s, Litmanen was fondly remembered at Anfield, but did not move to England until he was 30. And injuries meant that he missed all 3 cup finals of the Reds' 2001 treble-winning season. He did return in 2008 with Fulham, but didn't even make it onto the pitch, this time suffering heart palpitations in training. Clearly, Litmanen in England were just not meant to be. He did have a very excellent mullet though, proper business up front, party at the back stuff. Number 5, Ruud Gullit. Every time I played for Chelsea I thought, nice game, beautiful stadium, great crowd, I'm playing well. It was the only time I really had fun playing. Gullit didn't join Chelsea until he was 32, but that didn't stop him from being named runner-up to Eric Cantona as Footballer of the Year, before guiding the Blues to a FA Cup glory as player-manager. Number 6, Fernando HIERRO. One of the greatest goal-scoring defenders of all time, HIERRO joined Yuri Djorkaeff and JJ Okocha in Sam Allardyce's star-studded Bolton side, after a recommendation from former Real Madrid teammate Steve McManaman. We're guessing Maka told him Bolton was a really nice retirement home for footballers, only with more gravy on tap than the average club. Unfortunately, the Spaniard only had the chance to notch 1 solitary season in the Premier League before deciding to hang up his boots. Number 7, HENRIK LARSSON. A 35-year-old Larsson spent just 10 weeks at Manchester United, but he made such an impression in his short time at Old Trafford, he received a standing ovation in the dressing room after his final appearance. He did end up getting a Premier League winners medal despite not meeting the quota, meaning he ended his career with a whopping 14 major trophies. Could you imagine though if he'd have played there in his pomp? Number 8, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. On the subject of Swedish strikers at Manchester United, Ibrahimovic didn't move to the Premier League until he was 34, yet still scored 28 goals in his maiden season at Old Trafford, which was sadly cut short by injury. That saw him make only a handful of appearances in the following season before he was released and allowed to join LA Galaxy on a free transfer, leaving us to wonder just how good he would have been at his peak in England. If only Arsene Wenger had picked him instead of Francis Jeffers. Number 9, Edgar Davids. One of the most recognisable figures in world football, the Pitbull joined Tottenham in 2005 after over a decade of dominating midfields around Europe and beating up cyborgs in Nike adverts. He was decent in the Premier League, helping Spurs to 2 5th-place finishes before joining Ajax, but this was not the same Edgar Davids that we had grown up loving. He moved back to the Premier League in 2010 with Crystal Palace, but somehow ended up being worse than Sean Derry. We really wish that we could have seen him at his peak in the Premier League. Could you imagine him coming up against Vieira and Keane on a regular basis? That would have been carnage. Number 10, ESTEBAN CAMBIASSO. When Leicester signed Cambiasso following his release from Inter in 2014, the only logical explanation was his legs are gone. The Premier League money wouldn't have harmed, of course, but it was still quite unbelievable that a team that had only just been promoted had managed to sign a player of Cambiasso's pedigree. His legs definitely had not gone though, and finished his one and only season in England as Leicester's Player of the Year before turning down a new contract to join Olympiacos, which is fair to say he probably regretted a year later when the Foxes were crowned champions of England. Number 11, MAICON. Winning 76 caps for Brazil at a time when he had Dani Alves for competition, MAICON was a perfect modern fullback, and integral to Jose Mourinho's Inter Milan side, which won the treble in 2010. Sadly though, after joining Manchester City aged 31, injuries robbed MAICON of a chance to replace Pablo Zabaleta or Mika Richards in Roberto Mancini's starting 11, and he made just 4 starts before returning to Serie A. And number 12, Yuri Djorkaeff. Djorkaeff won the World Cup and Euros in the space of 2 years. He won the UEFA Cup with Inter and was once named in FIFA's Team of the Year, and aged 33, he signed for Bolton Wanderers. And despite being 33, he was bloody good, even scoring an incredible bicycle kick to rival that he'd scored years previously for Inter Milan. But that came on the back of an 8-game goalless streak and a team fighting for relegation. It basically was muscle memory, but it was incredible. After leaving Bolton, he had a blink and you miss it stint at Blackburn, which paved the way for him to join New York Red Bulls and somehow mustered 10 goals in his first season there. And that's our list. Did we miss anybody out? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to like and share this video, hit that subscribe button and notification bell, and check us out on social media at our Facebook and Twitter. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.